Chapter 12. The dragon is inside our spirits. The serpent distorts the word and grows to become a dragon. God said to Adam, "You must not eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, for when you eat from it you will certainly die." Yet the serpent deceived them and said to Eve, "For God knows that when you eat from it, your eyes will be opened, and you will be like God, knowing good and evil." There is nothing that says the serpent ate from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. The serpent did not eat, but only taught. The serpent's sound of deception went inside of Adam and Eve, and they disobeyed because they ate what God said not to eat. After they were banished from Eden, the serpent's sound of distorting the word has been leading Adam and Eve for 6,000 years. Then how did the serpent become a dragon? That the serpent became a dragon means it grew. Until now, the word was divided into good and evil, and it was eaten at a distorted state. This was God's plan of 6,000 years, so the serpent has also become 6,000 years old. Then does it not mean that it has done a great deal of work? Since there were things to eat in the meantime, it had grown. The serpent distorted the word, ate it, and became a dragon, so it had continuously controlled Adam and Eve. They thought such word was truth and followed it. The image of the serpent degenerated to the dragon. The serpent eats dust, and dust is the word. But how could the serpent become a dragon? The dragon is one who is disguised so that it can covet the place of God. Now, God takes off the skin, the disguise. God did not tell the dragon to eat dust. He told the serpent to eat dust and live, but it degenerated into a dragon. The serpent ate dust and grew to be a dragon. After the serpent made Eden dirty and was banished, it ate dust and became a dragon. The serpent took on the form of the dragon. The serpent ate dust, but dust does not show. Only the dragon shows. The dragon puts strength in its neck and consistently goes to war to try to widen his position. God told the human to eat dust, the word, and live, but they only nurtured their glory. Everywhere they go, humans brag only about themselves. But the era of love is not the time when God adjusts to me. I must take off the covering of the dragon and adjust to God. I must not be fooled. The era has changed. And in the meantime, the image of the serpent has degenerated into the dragon. If Revelation opens, God unclothes the covering of the dragon. Then God fulfills the work of 6,000 years and restores Eden. The dragon, one who came out from the place of the serpent. Revelation 22 says, "He laid hold of the dragon, that serpent of old." What sort of dragon would God seize? It is not the kind of dragon we imagine. The dragon is one who has left the place of the serpent, and God must take off the covering for it. When God takes it off every day and puts the serpent back into its rightful place, the dragon goes back and is sitting on that place again. It has not gotten used to it. It knows that it is a good thing to be inside of the Father's grace, but at some moment it has gone back to the same spot. But it has now become time. So God says, "Your place is the place of the serpent. Take off the covering of the dragon." The serpent is one who crawls on the land, so God tells it to obey. Now, in the era of love, God binds the dragon, the one who has come out from the place of the serpent, and all things find their original places. The dragon is inside of our spirits. The serpent is one whose eyes are opened, and it is someone who opposes God. It deceives Adam and Eve such that God's things pass off as their own things. God said not to eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, but the serpent deceived Adam and Eve by saying that they could be like God if they ate. The serpent had distorted God's truth. But Jesus came to this earth and placed the standard of truth. So the thing that deceives became exposed. The serpent stands as one who interferes at the place where God's truth has descended. The serpent which deceived Eve in Eden grew and transformed into a dragon. The dragon is one that interferes with God. God now seizes the one who is standing on top of Adam's head. But God seized the dragon, and it was the serpent of old. Where on this earth is the place to which God comes to work? The location where God moves and works is the inside of our spirits. Then, from where is God trying to seize the dragon, and from where is he trying to open a new era? From where is new heaven and new earth fulfilled? The dragon is inside of our spirits. Thus, a new era and new heaven and earth all become fulfilled, and they open from inside our spirits. Only the outside is the shape of the dragon. God told the serpent, "Eat dust all the days of your life." He did not tell it to eat dust and become a dragon. So, it has become all the days of the serpent's life, and God is trying to restore Eden. God tried to restore Eden, but God looked, and the serpent has turned into a dragon. How did it become a dragon? The serpent has taken on the form of the dragon. God's command was about dust, but it distorted the dust and ate the wrong thing. When the serpent is a serpent, it is easy to catch. But when it is a dragon, it becomes difficult. The serpent is one who crawls on the earth. The dragon flies in the heavens, so it is difficult to catch. From where will this person who flies in the heavens be caught? Are we going to gaze at the heavens that can be seen? This person is precisely me. If in the meantime the serpent was eating dust well, it would bow down when the king comes and say, "Please come inside, king." But since it has taken on the shape of a dragon, it acts like it does not know. We may have thought the serpent might grow to be a dragon, but until it dies, the serpent will always be a serpent. It merely takes on the shape of a dragon outside, but inside it is a serpent. The dragon, the one who keeps God's seat. Would the dragon only go around opposing God? Would it allow its place to be taken away until God comes? Until the Master comes, it absolutely does not give up its seat. The dragon is one who keeps God's seat. When the Master comes, he will say to it, "You have labored in the meantime, so now go and rest." And he will put it inside the bottomless pit. Saul, who went around killing people who believed in Jesus, had also filled up with dust. He regarded the law as his life. He had eaten all of the law. He ate it all, and it became time, so Jesus came out from inside. We must also eat dust so that Jesus can also come out from inside us. There were many who traveled with Saul, but they did not yet perfectly eat. The word must be filled up so that it overflows. Saul was a person who filled up so that the law overflowed. The law overflowed and came out, and it killed Jesus. Jesus was killed for the sake of keeping God's place well. That Saul went as far as to kill other people means he put his life on the line and kept his place. He kept the place because he was protecting God. Saul is a person who kept God's place well. This dragon did not let its place get taken away at the face of the carpenter's son, Jesus. Saul is someone who took the place of God's seat and kept it. So he killed the disciples who are going around interfering with the law. Before Saul met his master at the village of Damascus, Saul was in God's seat. Yet at that place, he gave his seat over to the Son of God, Jesus. He could not move for 3 days and was buried. The activities of his work came to an end, and he went inside the bottomless pit. Acts 9:9 tells us, "For 3 days he was blind and did not eat or drink anything. 3 days passed, and God brought him out again." The person who was brought out again was not Saul, but Paul. God now stood at that place. Christ had stood. So it is Christ who keeps God's place. Afterwards, Paul traveled by following only Christ. Christ worked from inside Paul, and truth moved. That is why hunger, beatings, and imprisonment were all afflicted upon Christ. Christ undergoes the suffering that Paul undergoes, and Christ leads his whole entire life. Christ appeared in the village of Damascus and seized him. Blessing and wrath split from inside the human called Saul. Saul, who kept God's place well, was put inside the bottomless pit, and inside Paul there was only Christ who lived again. So he was used for God. When the Master of Sabbath comes again, I, who keeps God's place well, die, and God moves inside me. I am the dragon. Just as cast members are introduced when a play ends, when the work of 6,000 years on this earth ends, the dragon, Antichrist, and 666 will be introduced as what they are. When Jesus introduced himself, he said in John 6, I am the bread of life, and I am the bread that comes down from heaven. People who heard these words in the flesh all departed. If Jesus was introduced, I must now be introduced. But how will we introduce ourselves before God? Will I not introduce myself as the lustful self, the dragon? For all the processes to come to an end, I must introduce myself. And when I introduce myself, the spirits of Satan, hearing me introduce myself, will all leave. In other words, when I acknowledge the evil inside myself, Satan leaves.